The wait is over, everybody, and Dragon Ball Daima Episode 3, titled Daima, has finally arrived. Welcome back if you were returning, and welcome to the channel if you were new. Let's get straight into it. The episode begins with Goku, Supreme Kai, and Glorio heading off into space to find Warp Sama. Glorio's ship, which he refers to as a plane, I'm just going to refer to it as a ship because it's just a ship. It's a ship. Just like Bulma said, it's a ship. Um, so they take off into space with the ship, and Supreme Kai says something interesting that it is actually just it functions and runs off of magic rather than like regular fuel, and that actually gives it great speed. You see it speeding off from Earth, and it's just moving through the solar system really freaking fast. So it's really cool to see that. Warp is actually referred to as a transit point between the demon realm and the living universe slash outside world. One must pass Warp Sama to get to the demon realm. And from the sound of it, it sounds like there might actually be numerous versions of Warp rather than just one being who goes to all these different areas. We'll get into that a little bit further, but there's something pretty interesting I saw regarding Warp and his destinations. So stick around for that. The one that they're heading to is alongside the planet Batapi in the Raka system. So it's kind of cool that we get a name of a new planet and one of these new systems. And it's interesting because we saw this planet. It kind of looks like an Eggo waffle, and we see it in like the earlier episodes and like the teasers and trailers and stuff. But that's actually just in the living universe. It's just in Goku's universe. I thought that was going to be one of the planets in the demon realm itself, but that's actually just in the regular outside world. Supreme Kai asks Glorio for some clarity on the mission that he was sent on. That he was sent to get Goku by the Demon King of the third demon world so that Goku could defeat Goma. I think there was a little bit of confusion last week. It might have just been how it was just worded, but it almost sounded as though Goma was the one who sent Glorio, but that is not him. He's not the one who sent Glorio to retrieve Goku. Glorio was sent by another king in the demon realm to retrieve Goku in order to bring him back so that he could defeat Goma. So there appears to be more than one king, and it's quite possible that we have a king in each of the demon worlds. And from what we're told, the name of this demon king is King Kadan. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Kadan, not Kadan, just Kadan. King Kadan. He's the one who tasked Glorio to go and retrieve Goku. And apparently, like Babidi, Goma himself, so he isn't, from what it sounds like, he's not physically imposing. He's not super renowned for his physical strength, but he is stated to have incredible magic power, and we can actually see a brief glimpse of him seeming like using his power in the opening in the opener. You see him, he's firing off a bunch of like key spheres and stuff, and so I'm excited for him. I was really hoping that they weren't going to turn him into, he's just he's the king, but he's kind of a joke, kind of like the whole Pilaf situation, where he's supposedly an emperor, but he's actually just a big goofball. But it seems Goma, he's dangerous. He's got some stuff up his sleeve, and so I'm really excited for that, and I hope we get to see him in action. And for those of you who are really interested in how strong some of these characters are, like Goma, for example, Glorio, he states that since Goku was able to defeat Majin Buu, that he should be able to defeat Goma. So Goma isn't going to be more powerful than Buu, but he seems to have some really impressive magic that will, make up the difference, make him a real threat. And so that's really cool. I love when we get magic users and see what they can do. When they reach their destination, Supreme Kai, he sends off a signal to Kibito so that he'll be able to find the warp location next to this planet. So it's just like a little telepathic signal he gives off so that Kibito will be able to basically just know exactly where to go, because he can just Kai probably right over there if they don't just use the ship to fly there. seeing Warp Goku, he gets really excited and starts calling Warp a giant goldfish. He's like, it's a big goldfish. And Supreme Kai, he warns Goku, he just pulls him aside. He's just like, hey, you need to watch what you say because this guy's super sensitive. And so Goku, he just keeps doing it. He just keeps calling him this goldfish, and even Warp's just like, hey, I'm not a goldfish. And then Goku calls him a pop-eyed goldfish. Which I don't know if you guys have seen a pop-eyed goldfish, but this is what it looks like, and you can see why that might make Warp pretty upset. In order to pass through Warp, they have to identify themselves and even have their ears examined by Warp. So Supreme Kai, he actually uses his abilities and he changes Goku's ear shape. So we get to see Goku with some Supreme Kai ears, which is pretty funny. And so Warp sees that and it's like, "Oh, okay, you're clear to go. You're definitely from the Demon Realm." So they get to go through, and Supreme Kai before they enter like that golden like eyeball mouth, like that gateway inside of him, he starts to panic. He's like, "Oh shoot, I didn't give Kibito the pin number." And so, but before he can send it to him, they basically just they warp, in quotations, and they end up in that big old nexus. And so the moment they like dissolve inside of him, is just kind of what it looks like. He loses all communication. He can't reach out to Kibito anymore. He can't connect with him at all. And so it's really interesting just how they get cut off like completely the moment they go inside and make their way to the Demon Realm. So once they're inside of this nexus, where you see like all those little like silver like emblems, like symbols, like I'm pretty sure they're all gateways, because they all look the same, even the ones that they go through right here. They're just silver compared to these ones that are colored. Glorio, he refers to them as a relay point, and it's just a physical location for distribution or pickup of purchases, or transportation. So it's just a way to go from point A to point B. And the Demon Realm, so it's interesting. So the Demon Realm, it's divided into 3 worlds. Each gate for each of these worlds has their own color, and it even has it's hard to spot. So if you look at these 3 gateways, just at the top of them, kind of like right what looks like it's between like a pair of eyes, there's a tally mark. And so the red gate has 1 tally mark for the first Demon World. The blue gate for the second Demon World has 2 tally marks. The yellow gate has 3 tally marks for the third Demon Realm, which is where Goku, Glorio, and Supreme Kai are heading, is to the third Demon Realm, the yellow one. And this is where the king that Glorio is working for lives. And he even mentions that as he's going to basically go introduce him. And so it's very interesting. I like that. So they arrive in the third Demon World, and this is this is what I was talking about earlier when I was saying that there might be 3 different versions of Warp, at least 3, because when they arrive, the warp that they they exit out of through this little hole in his underside, it's pretty funny. It looks like he just kind of poops him out. He has yellow. He's yellow. He has like yellow flippers. He has yellow accents on his body. And if you think back to the first one with Goma and Degasu and Neva, the first warp we meet, he has red. And these colors for these different warps match the same gateways that they went through the Nexus, like the red one for Demon World 1, blue for 2, yellow for 3. And so that's why I'm thinking there's 3 different versions of warp. So we're finally in the Demon Realm, and oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. It's so pretty. And I'm so happy that we're finally here. So they're traveling, they're flying, across the landscape, and we come across like this giant, like gaping hole in the ground. And there appears to be some sort of like a magical barrier over it. And this is called the Demon Realm Tunnel. It's one of those things with Dragon Ball, like when it comes to naming certain things, and it's extremely simplistic. It's like, oh, it's this world. Oh, it's the Demon World. Oh, what's that? It's the second Demon World. Oh, what's that? It's the third. What's that? Oh, this is the Demon Tunnel. It's just Toriyama. He just does that. But it's just kind of funny. So we see this big old tunnel that's blocked off, and it's actually used to connect them. It used to be used to connect all 3 Demon Worlds. My guess is, like, if you could look at it, like, you remember that image Toriyama made with like the giant globe, and so you can like see the clouds of like Otherworld and Heaven, Hell, Snake Way, and all that. Um, if you could kind of, I think, if you could look at the demon world in a way, it's probably just like, um, just like 3 levels. Picture it kind of like Corn Tower, just kind of like you had the 1 level, and if you went higher, you'd be up in the second demon realm, and if you went up higher than that, you'd be in the first, or vice versa. So I'm really interested on how the structure works. But yeah, so this tunnel used to connect them all, and then somebody, we don't know who, um, sealed it off. They cut off all travel between the demon worlds, and now they can't go around freely like they used to. And the only people who are able to are residents of the first demon world and a select few from the second demon world. And this actually leads Supreme Kai to being a little suspicious about Glorio because he's able to use warp. He has the pin number, he knows about him, and he can come and go wherever he pleases. And he even asks Glorio, he's like, "Hey, how are you able to do all this if you're not from the first demon realm or the first demon world or the second demon world?" And Glorio just states, he's like, I just do work there. I work in the first demon world and stuff. And he's like, "Oh, well, what kind of work?" And he's like this and that. He's just being super vague, and so it just makes Supreme Kai really suspicious of him. And so, they're teasing something for Glorio. I have no idea what it is. I personally don't think he's like got anything malicious hidden, but maybe there's just something that he himself is worried about and doesn't want to share with others. We get to see something else really cool here. As they're traveling, and we see this giant like statue. It's just like this giant Mr. Satan-esque statue of Dabura or Dabura, and he's just standing there. He's just holding out the peace sign, just the pose that Mr. Satan is always doing, the one Gotenks always does. And I just had a funny thought that I really hope like the residents and stuff like throughout the demon realm, they just look at Dabura and think of him as just like this, just some grandiose savior. But in reality, he's actually just a piece of shit and super evil. But I don't know. We'll see about that. But I just thought it was cool. The statue itself looked cool, and I'm happy that we get to see more about Dabura and learn more about him. So they land the plane for some fresh demon realm air. Goku, he states that it smells really funky, and that it even feels weird. His movements are even affected, like so he has a hard time like moving. It's almost like he's in the higher gravity. But Glorio, he states that there's a strange gas in the air. It's not toxic, it's not hazardous or anything, but it makes the air really heavy there. And so it's just really interesting. So Goku is already having some difficulty in a smaller body, but now he's in an environment with like heavy atmosphere. So we get a really cool piece of lore right here from Glorio. So he's talking to Supreme Kai and he asks him, he's like, "Hey, are you a Glind?" And this is a name we've never heard before. We haven't heard it in the manga. We haven't heard it in the anime, the Daizenshuu, super exciting guides, no interviews. It's a brand new term or name that we haven't heard used before, at least as far as I'm aware. But I'm 99.9% sure this is brand new. And he asks him, or he explains, according to Glorio, that there used to be a lot of Glind in the second demon world, that they used to live there, and were even referred to as sophisticated people who never had reason to go to the third demon world. And I am hoping to Kami that we get more information on this. So far in Daima, it seems like we are getting a lot of Kaioshin lore, as far as like Supreme Kai, his family, and just his background, which I'm super excited for. And I really hope this means that we finally get to, fingers crossed, I hope we get to see the world tree, or I think it's referred to as the Kaiju tree as well. It's the tree that births the Kaioshin. It births all of the Kais, and the golden fruits that become Kaioshin, and even the ones that turn sour and become Makaoshin, and they're cast off into the demon realm. So, I'm really hoping. I'm hoping that we get this. I hope we get to see it for the first time, and that it's here in the second demon world. And we also see something really cool here called the Sea of Darkness. Goku, so he's chasing like what looks like this like demonic cat, um, and he almost like falls into this like it's like a fissure in the ground. And Glorio, like he's pretty soft spoken, he's pretty stoic right now. But he sees Goku get near this thing, and he just shouts at him. He's like, "Stay away from that thing!" Or he's like, "If you fall into that thing, you will die." And it's referred to as the Sea of Darkness, and I don't know what it is. They haven't explained it yet, but it seems to be like this environmental threat that exists in the third demon world. And so it's really cool. I hope we see more of it. I hope there's more to it than just, this cloud of smoke that can kill you. So the trio, they get attacked by like these like troll-like demons. They kind of remind me of Ogremon. And do you remember like those barbarians? So in Dragon Ball Super, when Gowasu he takes Zamasu, and they go into planet Barbarai to observe like those, like those not cave. They're basically cavemen. They're like dinosaur like humanoids, but they're just super vicious, super wild. Anyways, and that's like where Zamasu gets like his first taste of blood when he like splits the one in half when it charges him. They kind of look like them. They have those really cool designs. They're a lot like Dragon Quest 2. I'm not super familiar with Dragon Quest, but I've seen a lot of the designs from like Nintendo Power magazines, like growing up and stuff, and then just through the years. And the Adventure of Dai that has been out for a few years now. If you aren't super familiar with it, like me, Toriyama, he actually did a lot of the designs for that, for Dragon Quest and stuff, and you can really see his hand here. And they're really cool designs. They're just simple characters. They don't really do anything. They just kind of try to attack him and then get scared off by Glorio when he fires at him. But anyways, it's just kind of cool. Really cool little designs to them. So they keep traveling, and so we see the floating volcanoes throughout the area. And Glorio states that these volcanoes, they're the things that produce the strange gas that makes the air super heavy. And so he's like, and I try to steer clear of them when I fly, because if I get too close to them, it could rip our ship apart just because the air is so heavy around them. And so it's just kind of cool. Yeah, the Demon Realm is really cool. I really like the designs of it so far. I'm excited to see more. So they arrive at a town to get a hotel for the night, just because it was getting kind of late. So as they're walking through, there's just all these people staring at them. It's kind of like, in all those shows where the person, the good guy, they walk into the wrong side of town, or into the rough neighborhood, or into the salty spittoon, and all the tough guys and like bandits and stuff and thugs are just like watching them, staring at them. Anyway, so they get to the hotel, and Glorio gets him a couple of rooms, and the guy, the manager, he tries to extort Glorio, and Glorio is just not having it, so he flashes his gun at him, or his blaster at him, and he gets a big discount on like the 2 rooms. But Goku's hungry, and so they're like, hey, where we can get some food around here, and the guy's like, oh, you can probably get some the universal hamburgers, that just exist across dimensions and across universes. Everybody has hamburgers. And dude, I shit you not, these hamburgers look delicious. Like, they've got like these dark buns, and I don't know if it's like, so they have like the regular patties, but then they got like these like slices. I don't know if they're just like giant tomatoes, or just like another meat on there. But anyways, they look super good. And so Goku's just like, oh, well, I'm still hungry, even though I ate a little bit ago. So get me 5 hamburgers and stuff. And anyways, so they're eating, and some of the demons in there, they look at Goku, and they notice he has round ears. And so he approaches him, the troublemaker. He approaches him, and a couple of his buddies come up and start, kind of messing with him. Glorio Glorio just keeps telling him to piss off, and but they push him to his limit, and so Glorio's not a joke. I was thinking he was just going to be a gunslinger, but this dude can fight, and he just bodies like two of them within like seconds, and it basically just erupts into his brawl. And so the entire time, uh, Goku Goku's so funny. He's just stuffing his face the entire time, like from the moment they get their food, and people keep like interrupting his meal and like smacking the hamburgers away, and he just keeps trying to like catch them and like just swallow them before they go to waste. Anyway, so Goku gets his fill. He starts to fight, and we get some really cool action here. I don't want to say it's like taken too long, but I'm just happy to see, we're finally getting to the action parts of Daima. And so Goku, he gets up, he eats his hamburgers, and he challenges like everybody in the diner. And so they all start attacking him, and uh, Goku, he just demolishes all of them. We get to see a lot of like that action that we saw from like the first trailer, where he's like eating the hamburgers, and I don't know. I don't know if they changed the design. I'm gonna have to look back at that first trailer. I thought they were like these like weird like clam like things, and and you could see like the muscle in its mouth and stuff, or like the sauce. I don't know, but they're just hamburgers anyway. So Goku, he's fighting, and he just crushes them. He just crushes them all, and he thinks about it as training. He's like, hell, this is gonna be perfect. I'm getting used to the balance in my body. And my depth perception is, coming back to me and stuff. And so Goku just folds him. He's just eating the whole time. He's happy as can be. He's not bothered. He's not truly bothered at all when all these guys are just trying to hurt him and cause all this trouble. So they finish their food, go to sleep for the night, and they wake up and go back to the plane to take off and go visit the king. But Glorio's plane is missing. We don't know where it is, and that's where the episode ends. So I really thought that this episode was a lot of fun. I think it was a lot better than last week. Last week wasn't bad, but it just didn't seem like a lot happened, other than just some information. And then Glorio arrived, and introduced himself and stuff and recruited Goku. This one I think was a lot more satisfying. I think while watching, we got to see beautiful art, beautiful scenery, awesome animation as always. We got lots of cool information on Supreme Kai. We got to learn about the demon worlds. We got to learn more about Warp. I think this is the first time we officially see and hear his name. I like the demon world. I think it's cool. I think we're going to see a lot of really cool and interesting characters in it. But even though it kind of portrays it in this episode, like a lot of like the residents and stuff are just a bunch of troublemakers, they're not all bad. And we actually get a glimpse of next week's episode where we see the masked Majin, and whoever that might be. If you don't know, I'm not going to mention it here, but so we're going to meet a new character next week, and I think we're going to learn that not all people who live in the demon worlds are bad people or mean or trying to cause trouble. There's a lot of normal people there who just want to live their lives and be free. But overall, solid episode, highly recommended. It's airing on Crunchyroll. It's on Fuji TV, if any of you have access to that somehow. It's also on Hulu, and the English dub, I think it's in, I don't know the exact date. I know it's coming up soon, where it's going to be releasing on Netflix. And then in November, it's actually going to be doing the first 3 episodes. So everything we've seen so far, I think it's episodes 1 through 3, are going to be playing in some theaters. So you should check out your movie theaters, and see if it's going to be coming there, because I'm definitely going to do that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to go and see that, hear the music, especially the cool music on the big screen. But overall, guys, solid episode. I had a lot of fun with it. Can't wait for next week. I'm just going to cut it here. I think this pretty much covers everything that we needed to cover. Thank you so much for stopping by. Love you. Appreciate you. Thank you for any of the time that you spent here. And like and subscribe. It's always weird saying that, but like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. I hope you were able to get some cool information and learn some stuff that you may not have spotted or noticed in this episode. And we'll catch you guys next time. Take care. Have a good week. We'll see you later. Bye bye.